infinite consciousness is the medium or the space or the container within which everything, literally everything, arises. So there is no outside of awareness. Now, from a conventional materialist point of view, there is no outside of physical space. Everything there is in the universe takes place inside a single, infinite, indivisible space. So from this perspective, everything takes place inside an infinite, indivisible, space-like presence of awareness or consciousness, including each of our minds, which are like localizations, individual localizations or perspectives within a single infinite mind or consciousness. So just like under the materialist paradigm, each of our bodies appear in the same physical space and are therefore in contact with one another. Likewise, in this consciousness-only model, each of our minds is precipitated or localized within the same infinite consciousness, and for the same reason, each of our minds is in contact with one another. Now, with that as a general comment, what is it that conditions or influences the content of our thoughts? The content of our thoughts may be conditioned from experiences that we have. Let's say, for instance, you have a toothache. That is that is a private experience within your own mind that is not shared by any other mind. And that sensation, the toothache, will generate the thought, I need to call the dentist. So in this case, the thought, I need to call the dentist, is caused by an occurrence that takes place within your individual mind. Yes. But there is much, much more to consciousness than the content of any one individual mind, or even the sum total of all individual minds. And some of the thoughts in our mind are generated by events that take place outside our individual mind, and yet still within the collective consciousness, namely the coronavirus. That is not simply a situation within your own mind. It's a situation that is shared by all minds, and that situation, which is outside your mind, but inside consciousness, generates thoughts within your own mind. In other words, thoughts may be caused by occurrences that happen inside your mind or outside your mind, but in both cases, they are all the events that cause your thoughts take place in consciousness, because there is nothing outside consciousness.
I'm working on that, but wouldn't in my mind be part of the consciousness as well?
Absolutely.
In my mind and out of my mind seem to be
absolutely
similar concepts.
You're absolutely right. Your own mind is just a temporary localization of the only mind there is, which is infinite consciousness. Mitchell, by way of analogy, imagine a piece of white paper.
Okay.
Onto that piece of white paper, draw with a pencil in your imagination a circle with a dotted line, a perforated line.
Right.
The white paper represents infinite consciousness. The tiny perforated circle indicates your individual mind. And now imagine drawing another perforated circle next door to your mind, in close proximity to your mind. That would be your daughter's mind. And now imagine drawing 7 billion perforated circles, and 7 trillion if you include all the animals, on the same piece of white paper. They would represent all the finite minds of all the people and animals in the universe. Each circle would be a temporary localization. Each circle would enclose a certain portion of infinite consciousness, but because each circle is drawn with a perforated line, each finite mind is in touch with all other minds. So you're right, your own mind is within consciousness, and because the boundary of your mind, in fact, your mind has no boundary, but if you imagine it having a boundary, that boundary is porous, which enables it to absorb influences across its permeable membrane, so to speak.
Mm.
And another place from which another realm of experience which influences or causes your thoughts is your own past conditioning. The experiences you had in childhood, for instance, condition the types of thoughts that arise in your mind. So all sorts of influences, internal and external to your own mind, influence the types of thoughts you have, but they all arise within consciousness.
Okay.
Am I responding to your...
Absolutely. Just when you were speaking to, I was thinking is perhaps the goal of our existence is to make that perforated line more porous and allow more.
That's a very nice way of putting it. Yes, or making it more porous, so that imagine some very dense minds. You would draw their minds with a circle that almost
no space, yeah,
almost a complete solid line. That no minds are completely impermeable, but some are more dense than others. And then the more we explore our experience in this way, the more we realize that the self of each of us is the self of infinite awareness. That the line that demarks our own mind gets thinner and thinner and thinner. It begins to, or to use your analogy, it gets more and more porous. Or you could say that the line, the circle that encloses our mind, expands.
Yeah.
And at some point, it loses its form altogether, and we simply know ourselves as infinite awareness, albeit with finite thoughts, sensations, and perceptions appearing in it. But there is no longer a personal boundary. There are personal thoughts and feelings, but there is no longer a personal boundary. In other words, a personal self around whom those thoughts revolve. And as a result, the personal thoughts and feelings tend to die down because there is no longer a clearly defined personal self or ego for them to revolve around. So yes, that would be a very nice way of describing the process of evolution. Yes, the expanding of the mind until it loses its limitations and is recognized to be one with infinite consciousness, or in religious language, with God's presence.